Hello everyone, my name is Daria Ilyina. I'm the community developer for The Division 2, and today I'm joined by Lauren Stone, our narrative director. Welcome, Lauren.
Thank you, Daria.
And I'm sure I speak on the behalf of the whole community when I say that Division 2 lore has got to be one of the most interesting aspects of the game, especially now that we transition into year 5. I'd love for us to focus on the diversity and inclusion aspect of the game and review a few character profiles.
Sure. In year 5, season 1, we're going to start with a Navajo pilot with PTSD, who we've already met at the Mexican Embassy classified assignment, who's John Yazzie. And then we're going to go to Eva Garcia. And then our Charlie target is Lauren Fong, who you may remember from a secret side mission with her girlfriend, Amanda Weeks. Amanda is deaf, and Lauren was her translator at college. And so we get to learn more about their relationship and how they help and benefit our society and build our community at the castle.
And before we dive deeper into Division 2 lore, let's actually talk about what does a narrative director do?
So normally a narrative director is responsible for the narrative. And so they sync with all the other directors to make sure that the story that we're telling is actually making it across. We work with different departments in order to make sure that the visual realization, the audio realization matches the intention of the story that we're driving. So we're an interdisciplinary wizard from time to time. And then on our project in particular, I also hold the lead writer and narrative designer position. So I help design the scripts, build the structure, and I write every script in the game and record with all the actors and sometimes direct the sessions. And so making the shape of the way that we tell the story and that experience for the player.
And for as to, your background, education, like what you started with before you got to Clancy AP.
Sure. I grew up a children's musical theater actor. So that's a weird background. And was an actor in LA for a very long time. Joined both unions in 2006. And then the WGA strike in 2008 made me go, I can't work without writers. Maybe I should switch sides of the table and start writing and do this on purpose. So I went back to school and got a degree in creative writing with a theater minor. And then ended up getting my first job in games as a voice actress. I was the voice of Lily and Becca in State of Decay. And then came to Ubisoft originally as an Ubi spouse. My ex-husband was headhunted to be the lead writer on Assassin's Creed Unity. And then was in Montreal for a couple of years doing comedy and musical theater and being a general weirdo, running a small press, a literary journal, and getting plays produced in Montreal and LA. So I sent in a resume and a writing sample and got hired for an 8-week contract to help out on Rainbow Six Siege. And now it's been over 8 years and I'm still here and I'm in charge of the division. So from musical theater to Tom Clancy girl, I don't really know how that happened, but I like it and it's working out. So, and I get to work with beautiful, wonderful people like Daria. So,
yeah, that's a very interesting transition. Yeah, not something that happens to ordinary people, I would say. But yeah, talking about Clancy, I know that you were in charge of a few characters on the Rainbow Six Siege.
Yeah, of all of the main game in the first year, I helped shapecraft or was solely responsible for all of them. Pulse was the first character that I made, actually. And I looked at the character art that we had and went, all right, well, there's no reason this can't be a white passing person of color. And let's make him biracial and bisexual and use that coded language to make sure that that goes across everything. Because we have bark trees that don't distinguish between genders. If he's flirtatious with everybody. So like, the way that that structure works is like everybody is default either ace or pan in terms of their sexuality. And then unless we define it elsewhere, like if you're going to make a blanket assumption of anybody in a game at Ubisoft right now, the way most of our games are structured, everybody's sexuality is either asexual or pansexual until told otherwise. So if you want to make a like blanket assumption, be like, they like everything or nothing.
But Rainbow Six Siege is obviously not something we're going to promote here. We're here to talk about the Division 2. Yeah, and it's a well-known fact that Division 2 is one of the most progressive universes when it comes to diversity and inclusion, right? So I remember listening to this one phone recording labeled out in the Garment District. And that was a recording made by a young woman who was worried about the outbreak and decided to call her mother because if anything happened to her, she wanted to come out to her mom and at least, let that out. And it actually, left a very long lasting impression to me because small things like that what matters, right? But is there anything else you recall from Division 1 or Division 2?
Well, I think the hugest thing is that Jessica Candle sends you to get her ex-wife, right? Like, she doesn't send you to get her wife or her girlfriend. She sends you to get her ex-wife. That even though that relationship dissolves, you still love and care about those people, and it matters. Just the fact that Jessica Candle is a key figure and is out. And I also believe is an out Jewish lesbian, right? So it's like the representation is not just one-sided. It's not one event. And she's an incredibly capable woman, and that's a legacy I inherited, right? I didn't come into this until we had shipped. I came in to work on the post-launch content. I've been on the project since 2016 in one way or another, but like the people that we have and the characters that we created, like that's a legacy that was started before I ever came here. And I feel very honored to carry it on and to expand it and to make it more and more inclusive. But the division has always been that way.
Talking about the main cast, Faye Lau got to be one of the characters who are officially out since she publicly commented on it. Spill the tea.
I think most people would assume that Faye is a lesbian, but she is pansexual, which is, I think, more fun for me. The relationship that we get to know the most about with her is actually her relationship with Bridget Douglas, who was Viper, I believe. Like Viper or Cersei. Now I'm having code name brain farts. Sorry. But yeah, so from season 4 of her Manhunt. So we're gonna learn more about that relationship as time.
And what inspired you to make other couples like Amanda Weeks and Lauren Fong and also Mel and Jack Arnold?
Okay. Mel and Jack are my fault. So I will take credit for Mel and Jack. Amanda and Lauren were done when I was on parental leave. And so I came back to find a Asian woman named Lauren, and I'm an Asian woman named Lauren taking care of their disabled partner, and I have my ex-husband's disabled. And I'm like, y'all miss me? And then just make them lesbians and deaf instead of arthrogryposis? Like, yeah. So yeah, I can't take credit for Lauren and Amanda. But before Trick left the project, she expressed to me that she would love to see those characters come back. And so even though Trick is no longer at Ubisoft, it was really important to me to bring back that character because that was a request from Trick.
Absolutely, yeah. I had no idea. I'm learning new things every day, mostly from Lauren, by the way.
I like that you sit behind me and like
got to listen to everything and like write down. Okay, that's probably important.
Well's too deep. It's just.
I mean, but that's partially the reason of why I wanted to have this podcast with you, because I think that's a lot of a profound knowledge, like an abundance of knowledge that you can share with the community.
Yeah.
But talking about transmedia, you mentioned that you're also overseeing transmedia titles.
Yes.
Any queer characters that come to mind?
Oh yeah, the novel is full of them. And actually Thomas kind of like baited Twitter about the sexuality of the characters, and he talked about his headcanon. So I slipped into his DMs and was like, Thomas, this is what I think. And he's like, oh, that's better than what I thought before. I was like, all right, cool. And so yeah, no, pretty much the only person that is heterosexual is Colin, and I refer to him as aggressively heterosexual. Everybody else is not. We have a lesbian, a bisexual character, a pansexual character, and and an ace character. So I'll let you have fun trying to guess who's who, because I think that's more interesting.
And we're talking about compromised
and recruited. So in Colin and the Pan character are new characters in Compromised, and the other ones are all in both novels.
Yeah, let's just take a moment to advertise Thomas Parrott's novels. If you haven't read them, I highly recommend both Compromised and Recruited. They're really awesome.
And if you are a lore head, there are ties that I've created in the game to the novels that it's not required reading, but there will be things that make you go, oh, that? Okay. So
spoilers.
Season 11 came out. We already know. Like St. Louis, man, salads, all the salads. Don't eat this.
So many thanks for joining me today to talk about the Division 2 narrative and especially queer representation. Diversity and inclusion is very important, and I feel honored to work on the Division 2 as a title. And to summarize everything, let's finish off with some advice for aspiring designers and who knows, maybe even seasoned industry veterans. Like, what are the most important aspects of inclusive writing?
Look at your constraints as opportunities. And I think that just goes for all design. Like if your barks aren't gendered, right? You only have pan and ace. That's it, right? You have to go out of your way to make someone heterosexual. Anytime that you think that something is token, right? And you feel like it's out of place, it's because you haven't done enough work to ground it. Someone's sexuality, someone's marginalization is not the totality of their experience, but it influences how the world reacts to them. It influences those things that will be triggers for them that wouldn't be for somebody else. And the minute that the marginalization is the entirety of the character and not a piece of the character is when we fail. So it should be that whole giant list of things of age, ethnicity, nationality, where they grew up, what their socioeconomic class is, their religion, if they had any major trauma events, as I smack the mic. Don't drop a mic in a podcast. And so like the more you detail that, the more deep that is, the more you know who that person is, regardless of how big or small that character is. And recognizing that the clearer that each individual is, the more people will connect to them. Like, it does not matter if it is someone who shows up for 2 minutes or someone who shows up for 12 hours. If that 2 minutes is more authentic than the 12 hours, people will gravitate towards them. And we have characters that we had 2 minutes. That was it. They existed in our game for 2 minutes, and now they're coming back. And they've got full character arcs. And because we did that work in those 2 minutes 4 years ago, we now can bring them back because they feel real and people will remember them and will hopefully be invested and like to carry their journey. And for the people who went and got John and who listened to Eva's creepy, weird podcast at Kenley College, and for the people who got Lauren and Amanda and the people who got Mari from the aquarium, I think this year for us is super exciting, but it also is that like that tiny, tiny moment can grow into something huge if you don't kill your characters. Or if you do, our storytelling's told in flashback. So like we are constantly having stories from the ghosts, right? And so there's people that we sent you to kill, and then they're going to be in your again, and you're going to maybe feel conflicted about killing them.
But I mean, I wouldn't say that specifically killing a character is what makes you invested in their story, right? I don't want to say that, but that's actually what makes the Division 2, a big live organism in a way, right? Because everything is connected.
Yes,
everything is happening for a reason.
Yes, yeah, and I think the coolest and kind of creepiest thing about where we are now, like right now, we're recording this. Like this is an artifact. This is a moment in time. This is part of our story together. And when we're gone, this will still exist. When we're gone, the art still stays. The recording still stays. And we live in a time where we're constantly recording our lives, whether we are or the government is, right? Like we're constantly being recorded and these artifacts are being made. And our story is told by getting access to those artifacts. And so even when we are gone, our voice remains. And I think that's super cool. And the thing that we are able to do, because our main character is not that, our main character is you. You are who you are. The stories we're telling are all the people surrounding you and all the people in the community. And our communities are highly diverse. And we're showing that representation because we're in a position where the stories we're telling are not about the hero, but all the people the hero saves and all the people who antagonize the hero and all the people who interact with them. And that means we can tell stories about anybody. And so the more we tell stories that are about everyone, the more we can actually include.
Actually, I wanted to just quickly acknowledge the fact that you made sure to prepare for the podcast by knitting your own top.
That's it.
bright color top, and this super cute small coasters. I wanted to say that you can pre-order yours at massive.se, but apparently they're not for sale. But look at how nice they are.
I will write the pattern for Daria so that they can post it online, and then anyone who wants to make a Division Rogue Descent or Shade actually on Mission Coaster can, because it's very easy and it takes about 15 minutes.
On this super positive and exciting note, we finally gonna say goodbye. And thank you so much once again. Learned a lot of new things today. Hope you guys also did. So thank you, and talk to you soon.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.